Hi viewers, welcome to Pastor Sue Munene and our YouTube channel, popularly known as Pastor Twatwa. Twatwa being our coded language for godly sex in marriage. Today we are learning about the 5 things that every married couple must fulfill before, during, and after Twatwa. I believe that today we are going to learn a lot of things, and mine is to welcome you today so that we can learn together the 5 things that we need to know before, during, and after Twatwa. The common sense, we want to call them the common sense of Twatwa. And I want to let you know that, did you know that you have 5 senses that are the key ingredients before, during, and after Twatwa? Amazing truth. I didn't know whether you know that you have 5 senses that are very important during and after Twatwa. And so these 5 senses are actually involved for sexual intimacy between a husband and a wife. And which are these senses that we are learning today? Number 1 is sight. Number 2 is hearing. Number 3 is touch. Number 4 is smell. And number 5 is taste. Wow, amazing senses that you have. Sex has been confined to 1 or 2 senses, but for you, you must get maximum benefit. And the use of them is very important and paramount in your marriage. And so let's assume that the maximum pleasure of Twatwa in marriage is 100%. And every sense therefore contributes maybe to 20%. So if you have been using 2 senses, and then you have only been getting probably maybe 40%, and 60% of Twatwa, you're not able to enjoy it because you do not know that you're supposed to involve all your senses in Twatwa. So today, let us briefly reflect as couples and see if are we scoring 100, are we scoring 65%, are you scoring at 40%, or merely just 20%. So if you give ourselves maybe a scorecard for your Twatwa, maybe in your marriage, what would it be? Would it be excellent? Would it be average? Or would it be below average? Majority of the couples have resorted to dutiful Twatwa, which is actually a very low average. And this is as a result of lack of knowledge. And that's why we are coming to you today, so that we can teach you knowledge that is based on who God created you to be. And it is important for you to know that Twatwa is actually God's original plan. And it is God who actually gave us as a gift and a sacred thing that we should worship him as a husband and a wife. So I don't want you to think that this is something with your wife somewhere enclosed. No, I want you to know that it's a gift that God has given us. And so involving all these senses are very important to make sure that, we get maximum benefit in our Twatwaing life, in marriage. While we were growing up, we were told that that men love what they see and women love by what they hear. Consequently, maybe this has actually accustomed us to think that we can only use 2 senses, sight and hearing. Did you know that your body was created by God to respond to the 5 senses? And that's why any negative trigger can actually disrupt your Twatwa. For example, if you have a small baby and the baby keeps crying, you have a negative comment from your spouse, you have a knock on the door when you are Twatwaing, or you have even pains in your body, or even in your private organs, or even a phone call just comes when you are Twatwaing, that can really mess up your Twatwaing, connection between your husband and your wife. If you have a creaking bed, and that's why I want to kindly request all the couples, if you have a bed that keeps making noise when you are Twatwaing, this is the time for you to fix it. I hope none of my viewers is actually a victim of that. And so these are negative triggers that can really hinder us. And this is a result of that we are bringing knowledge to all of us so that we can be able to have the maximum benefit that we can have in Twatwa. And another thing we need to know is we have also positive triggers That is soft music, you know, that soft music that in your bedroom, not loud, you know, good lighting also do play a big role. You know, scented candles can also enhance maximum performance for maximum pleasure. And so these things are supposed to, all of them work together so that Twatwa in marriage can actually be enhanced. And you know what? We human beings, we are known to really explore. We have explored the moon, we have explored the earth, you know, we have explored under the water, and we are continuing to explore with the technology and the science that is there. But it is a pity that we have not yet explored our human body, and especially on the 5 senses that God has given us to be able to explore, you know, our Twatwa. And so that is very, very, very important. And so I want to let you know that there are reasons why, this, you know, this must remain explored, because some of the reasons why, you know, some have not been explored is because, you know, people have a mentality. We have grown up knowing that Twatwa or sex is a taboo. It's an abomination, you know, something you should never mention even before people. You know, when you mention it, it looks like you are actually sinning. It's like you are actually mannerless. It's like you are not disciplined. And so we have grown up thinking that it is a taboo. It's an abomination that should not be mentioned. Others have taken it as a dirty game, you know. So you think when you are done with it, Twatwa with your husband, you are dirty. And some even go and shower immediately. They think it's a sinful thing to do, even in marriage. You know, others have little, you know, or no premarital counseling before marriage. Some of us did not have a chance to actually go for premarital counseling. And because of that, we have very few knowledge. We have very little knowledge on how we need to Twatwa each other. Others, it's a myth that Twatwa or sex is only for procreation. So after we are done with getting children, we don't need it any longer. But I want to let you know, there is no Twatwaing in heaven. There is no sex in heaven. So if you don't enjoy it here, my friend, when you go to heaven, you will not have it. So it's better we have it here and have it the best way possible. You know, others believe that they have to do it in darkness. You know, all the lights must be switched off. So some cannot even have Twatwa when the lightings are on. Others, they feel this is not something we can even give a feedback about. So you find couples fear even to give feedback to each other. And so there's a lot that people believe. But I came to tell you that Twatwaing in marriage is very, very important between a husband and a wife. And we need to be very free. We need to create that atmosphere where one feels very free to actually share it. And now, let us look on how we can effectively use our senses to bring maximum satisfaction in Twatwaing. Number 1, sense is your sight. What is sight? It is one of the most powerful sense in your body. Your sight is your eyes, your 2 eyes, when it comes to Twatwa. Because seeing helps us to make judgment, whether someone is admirable, whether someone is actually welcoming, whether someone is actually presentable, whether someone is clean, attractive, and ready. And all these is actually an issue of the eyes. And so your eyes play a very important role. Even the way you dress. How do you dress for your partner? How do you dress for your wife? How do you keep yourself? Sight has a lot to do with effective and having a good Twatwa. And so remember, I just want to take you back. Remember the first day when you met your wife, when you met your husband. The first sense that you used was actually your eye. Even before you spoke to her or him, you actually just looked at each other. And so the human being and animals, you know, human beings and animals actually rely on sight to make decisions, you know, to admire people. And first, before even you talk to someone, even before you know who they are, you first of all look at someone and you feel, wow, this can be a very good husband. This can be a very good wife. So your sight is very important. And that sight was not meant for you to only connect. It was meant to actually take you over even in marriage and become a blessing to you. And so one of the things we must undo is ignoring that you don't need to actually admire your partner. Because if you fail to use the sight, your eyes, your sight senses, then you are going to stop having, the connection. You're going to start feeling like you're not really spiced for this. So when you see the reasoning and the processing of thoughts is done, that's one thing I want you to know. Anytime you look at your wife, anytime you look at your husband romantically, something happens. You are reasoning, and your mind begins to process thoughts. And what happens? The mind holds the power of imagination. The mind holds the power of recognition. The mind holds the power of appreciation. And it is responsible for processing feelings and emotions and resulting into attitude and sexual action. So this means what? You must see to determine what you are going to feel. And so it is very important for a couple to agree on eyesight. When you're talking to each other, don't just ignore your partner. Probably he has a new hairstyle. Probably he has a new hair shave. And all these things that are physical. We need to admire each other. But you find we are so much distracted by our phones. We are distracted by things that we have. And by so doing, we fail to connect with each other. So, one of the things that I would want you to know is that if you connect at eye level, it is possible for you even when you go to Twatwa, you have that feeling, you have that morale, there's something about sight. And it's therefore very important to know that your partner's likes, because it is what they see that they interpret as their love language. In the book of Matthew 6:22, Jesus said something, that the eye is the window of the body. And so we need to understand that you need to admire your partner. You need to look at those curves. You need to look at those, the body physique, and just admire them. This explains why sex workers seems like they have something better to offer, but they have learned something that we do not know. They look very attractive to men. They have even realized this secret. And so we need also to have this secret so that we can actually also make sure that our intimacy of Twatwa is actually at the right level. And so we need to know that this secret of the sex workers becoming very appealing, looking very attractive, is just something to actually just mess us. And so I want to just give you an example of someone called David. The Bible talks about David, that David saw Uriah's wife bathing. The book of 2 Samuel 11 and 12, it talks about him seeing. And when he saw this woman, though he was somebody's wife, he admired him and he thought of actually sleeping with him. That explains the power of sight. That explains the power of your eyes. You need to admire your wife when she's naked. You need to admire your husband when they are naked. Some of us keep having clothes throughout, so we have never had time even to look at each other. You remember Esther queen, the queen in the Bible, in the book of Esther 2:15. It talks about the king and how he chose actually Esther from among many other ladies. Esther dressed in such a color of a dress that the king loved. And because of that, she was preferred against other ladies. What am I saying? You need to use your physical eyes to actually connect. Jesus also echoed the same in the book of Matthew 5:28. What did he say? That if you see, and you look at a person lustifully or a woman lustifully, you have already committed adultery in your heart, looking. So what am I suggesting today? Couples must, from today onwards, as long as you're a husband and a wife, you must look admirable. You must look presentable. You must look attractive to your spouse. You must look welcoming. You are flirting. Flirting. You are there. You are seductive. Especially, men are moved so much by sight. Even as women, we are also moved by sight. So make that environment of your touring very clean, very conducive. Beautify yourself, make sure that you are just your best. And when we talk about this, we are not talking about exaggerating anything. I think I'm just thinking about the beauty contest we have, Miss World. One of the things that they look at is the confidence that this lady has, the composure, and also, the physique, the body, the personality. So those are looking. Most of the judges, they actually look for Mrs. World by looking. So your eyes are very important in making your tuatua good with your wife and your husband. Beautify yourself. Make yourself, package yourself well. In the marketplace, we are not talking about packaging ourselves. Package yourself for your wife. Package yourself for your husband. So that's very important. And packaging is everything. You must look admirable. You must look that you're looking good. You must look that you are there. Because without that, then it is impossible for you to actually make your spouse happy. And so I want to believe that as we continue, we are going to learn more senses, that will make us, become even better in our marriages, and make sure that we use this sense, the power that God has given you. God has given you eyes. Admire your wife. Admire your husband. Don't admire another woman who is not your wife, who is not your husband, because one wife is just too enough. One husband is just too enough, brethren. So what do we need to do? We must use the sight. We must use our eyes to admire each other and make sure that you actually know your partner right and left center. Nothing, every mark of the body should be at your fingertip. So this admiration is one of the things that makes you even enjoy tuatua. I'm just thinking, if, for example, you are in bed and your wife is clothed with a biker, she has a jean, she has a full neck up to this level. I'm telling you the truth, you'll be put off by the sight. But when you are naked, and that's why the Bible talks about it in the book of Genesis 2:25, that Adam and Eve were naked and they were not ashamed. So I want to talk about sight. Seeing it. You must see it in your wife. You must see it. Learn even to undress each other. Learn actually to have tuatua when you are naked. So that, even if you didn't have the morale, even if you didn't have the psyche, I'm telling you the truth, this comes out so strongly. So what are we talking about? It is possible, to use our sight and enhance our tuatua such that it will be so strong and nothing can actually separate us. So eye contact is very important. I want to suggest to the couples, have enough lighting when you're having tuatua. Don't do it in darkness. Guide your partner where they're supposed to go. Have that conversation. Look at each other, in a romantic way. Look at each other, with romantic gestures. Make it beautiful, because this is the only thing that can make you connect, that can make you bond, that can make you become one, as the Bible says in the book of Genesis 2, verse 24. So what are we talking about? We've got to take care of our sight. What are you seeing? How do you look like? And so some of these things are actually not expensive, because you just need to make sure that your hair is neat. Don't stay with the hands curved and you are in a night dress throughout the day. That sight is very not appealing to your husband. You're always in pajama. You just look funny. You have even not washed your face. You're just looking out of place. No, we need to look the best. We need to look, the best to our partner. In fact, before you impress other women outside there, before we even impress other women out there, impress your wife, impress your husband, because that's the way to connect and make sure that we make this tuatua a game that we can be able to enjoy. So I want to say that we have begun well, and I want to say that the next few minutes or few seconds, we are going to we are going to go to the next the next video, and I believe that God is going to bless you. So I want to pray that God is going to give you a wonderful marriage, and because of that, we want to say that may you have a very wonderful time, even as you connect with each other in Jesus' mighty name. So thank you so much for actually, being there for us and also listening. And I want to believe that you are going to put that sense in us in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. And I believe that the next sense that we are going to discuss, it's gonna come to us, and we are going to actually learn a lot from it, because I want us to go one by one and make sure that our marriage becomes better. So I want to say bye-bye. God bless you. Looking forward again to seeing you. I want to kindly request you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and it's Twatwa Pastor Sue Munene, and click on our notification bell, and we believe that we will connect again in the next video. Keep on watching us, keep on listening to us, and I believe that the next video we will become a blessing to you. Bye bye. See you the next video. Thank you.